G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I'm David. This is a tree that I have been using as air layers for a number of years. It's called the mother tree. If you've been following my channel for a while, it's the mother tree because it actually supported a lot of new young Shimpaku air layers that I've done over the years. Probably took 20 air layers at least up this tree. It's at a point where there's not really much more to air layer off. It's a very simple tree. It's got used to have a huge trunk on this side, which I've totally air layered. There were so many ones off this one. I've taken air layers off this one. You can see the wound there from air layers from this side. And it's pretty much left with, I've got pretty much two branches left. One that's twisted up into here and a longer one here. So I want to use those to create a new tree. I haven't had much time to look at the tree. I've been working on my show trees. That's for the upcoming exhibition, which I'll promote in a few seconds. Of course, I always promote the exhibition coming up for my club. But what I want to talk about first was this tree. Now, there really is, I don't want to be changing it too much in the direction it is. So what I mean by that is this trunk is pretty solid. That's not going to move there. It's rock solid. So that angle, it's always going to have that angle. I was considering moving it, tilting it, moving it different ways and so on. It might, I'm just considering maybe moving it a little bit upwards. It's a little bit too flat at the moment, but whatever I choose, I might have to lift it a little bit like this. But I'm not going to go for anything extreme, like I'm going to bend it all the way this way and make a tree that side. It doesn't make sense, right? The whole tree is moving in this direction. The whole trunk's moving this direction. The roots and everything are nicely spread out over this side. It's a nice little gin on this side. It tells a story. It is a little bit too flat, so a little bit of a lean this way would actually better enhance the tree. Now, I'm contemplating what I want to do. I'm not going to go too extreme and create a mini or anything like that. Never know, I might. But at the moment, my plan is probably to use this side as the front. Actually, to be honest, I was looking at this side, which you can see the whole trunk, or this side, which you can't see the trunk, but all these branches come forward. They come forward. So it's a nice thing to have. In this way, the branches are all going back. So I'll have to put some real extreme curves to get them going the other way, which I probably want to avoid doing. Everything's twisted already this way, so I've already got a head start in terms of all the foliage and everything. What I think I want to do is kind of keep it pretty simple, to be honest. Gin this little bit here, then actually really start to crank this down, twist it right around. I'll have to try and explain it as I go, but gin this, twist this even further more, and then create some sort of little mini apex in here, mini tree in here, and then bend this straight down and create a little semi-cascade branch. So what I'm thinking is, let me see. What I'm thinking is a small semi-cascade kind of tree, but I want this foliage to sit into this area here. Like it needs to sit into here. I want to see a bit of this, but then the rest of the tree is going to sit into here, hiding this straight trunk, straight bit here, that is going to be very hard to do anything about. That's my thinking at the moment. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if that's going to be the final design, but let's see how we go. It's an idea. I could change my mind once I start working on the tree, but that's what I'm aiming for. I don't think I'm going to air lay any more of it. I know I saw this nice top here. It'll be nice if I'm not going to use it to air lay this guy off, but at the moment I don't think I need to. I think I'm going to use it all in my design. To really compact and twist and make a really small tree, well, not small tree, but really compact apex, and then use this as some sort of cascade branch, and some of these branches flow into that cascade branch. So a semi-cascade kind of looking tree, pretty obvious. I think if you look at it, I could go up further and create more of an informal upright or some sort of twisted up tree, but the twist won't look that as natural. I want natural movement, natural twists. These twists are going to be like this big snaky thing, so I don't like that. I want twists that are like very hard to create artificially. If they naturally created, it would be different, but very artificial. So this is going to take a bit of time to do, a lot of work to do, to be honest. But I'm going to get started and we'll see what happens. And before I start any work, here's the promotion of, if you're in Melbourne, or you're coming down to Melbourne on the 15th to 16th of May 2021, is our exhibition and sale. It's a monster sales area, by the way. Huge amount of things for sale. And beautiful trees on exhibition. I'll have a number of trees of mine in the exhibition. A lot of my Shimpakus I'm going to put in there. Looking at some of these maples behind me, if they hold on their leaves, which they're not. But I'll have a number of things for sale as well there. Now, the thing is, I want to have more exhibition trees in, so I'm looking to do a sale of some of my trees and some of my things before then. So I might put a video up later on of any things that I've got for sale. If people are keen to purchase, help me out. It'd be great, because then I've got more room for exhibition trees. But anyway, there you go. Footscray Community Arts Centre, 15th, 16th of May 2021. Hope to see you guys there. Okay everyone, so what I've done is I've wired up, put a big heavy wire on this branch and this branch, just to anchor this one. I've tried to work out the front, so you can probably see these two wires that kind of, if you line them up, that's roughly where the front is. I've tilted the tree slightly upwards because I want the tree to come out, not fall over. So I'm just aiming to be tilting it that way. What I've done is I've fully wired this branch. And now what I do is I try and set that branch in place before I keep wiring it. I just wanted to set that branch and then really look at how I'm going to wire this top half up, because I need to anchor it. Now the other place I'm going to be able to anchor it is on this branch that I've fully wired, so I'm going to have to twist it and anchor it. So that's why I want to set this first branch at least to roughly in position, how far down I'm going to bend it, etc. So no raffia, you can see there's no raffia on it. It's all purely done by gentle, bending, but using a heavy enough gauge of wire to actually bend it, and keeping the distance of the coils a bit more closer than normal. It almost acts like a spring, but it also acts like a protection for the trunk, so it doesn't split. So I'm just gonna take you through the process. It's not really, you can see it's pretty straight there. So I'm gonna bring this. That's the back, unfortunately. I've got to look at the tree. So I've got the front looking at the front. Sorry, I'm looking at the front while I do this, and make sure that I actually bend it accordingly. So I've wired the tree in the direction that I want to bend. I've wired the branches in the direction I want to bend and twist the branch as well. So just so you're aware. So now I'm going to work with two hands and try and, I want that to come quite down first. And so far so good. So maybe you can see the angle change, quite nice. There's a good nice movement around here and into here, so that's good. I'm pretty happy with that. It's pretty good. That worked out really well. It's pretty easy. I want to get some backward and forward movement. So there's a bit of a bare space here. Now I'll just show you. There's a bit of a bare space here. Now what I like to do is try and see these. There's some branches here that I want to kind of put into that place. So when you see that, you want to try and get the tree to go. Try to fill that gap by getting the tree. I first go this way, closer to me, and then I'll bend the tree backwards towards you guys. What that does is visually try to close that gap and put a branch there to close that gap. A bit hard to probably show you in the camera. I'll probably come in closer, but I've got now movement. Hang on, let's have a look. See, let me see. So I've got the tree, where is it? It came this way, and I've tried to bend it back this way, so this branch can now sit in the gap. So there's a bit of tweaking like that you got to think about doing. Just be careful with all the wire and the branches, and not to break anything, but using two hands and gently bending things that direction. So I have wired pretty much all the main branches, so that's good news. So all the main branches, I haven't wired all the little twigs though. A lot of little twigs that I didn't really want to wire. So now that I've set kind of that first bend in, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this side yet. There's another nice big long branch here. I'm not sure what to do. But I've got all these other branches here. See how they're a bit straight? I'm going to have to put some movement into those and put them into place. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep wiring and putting different bends and twists into it, because you want to actually mimic the rest of the tree. Yeah. Also, I want to. This first branch is probably going to be. This first branch is going to be really important. It's going to kind of set the balance of the tree in this area. I'm filling this gap in here. Put some movement into the branch. then get it to drop a bit more further down, and then so it goes, drops, the branch will drop down and the foliage will sit up like that. So that's the plan, and we're going to have to work through and see how that all goes. So yeah, just want to tell you that, but I'm going to put it on a little quick time lapse to show you that process. Alright, so I've given the tree some structure. It looks a bit droopy at the moment, but because there's a lot of foliage and a lot of it's hanging down, and I don't want to take off too much foliage because I don't want juvenile growth to grow in the tree. So this is kind of setting the structure. Now I've got the bends and the twists and turns into the tree. All the branching, I've kind of positioned this one into this gap here, which is really important. I'll just keep tweaking a few of those branches and getting them in place. This cascade, it's a semi-cascade, so it doesn't have to fully cascade, right? So it's almost like comes out and then sits just if you have the pot, this tip will just sit probably just at the feet, the same length as the feet, if that makes sense. That's how I like to see my trees, or just a bit higher. I don't want it too cascadey. This will now get nice light, a lot of light, and get all happy and growing. So now, do you see how there's a gap in here, and there's this bit, a lot of foliage up here? Really, the essence of what we want to do with this is compact it enough to actually fit in here and create some sort of crown, multiple layers, a few layers, like a layer, and then a layer, and then a crown, and then try and have most of the tree moving in this direction. So that's the next step. Setting the structure, set the structure of the cascade. You know, it's not 100%. It never is the first time. This is really a first styling. You're never going to get perfect pads and so on in your first go. I mean, I could go to that extreme, but again, as I mentioned, the risk of juvenile foliage being thrown is quite large when you remove a large amount of foliage. So that's what you want to try and avoid. So I've done it in a way that I've removed the things that are glaringly wrong, left little twigs that are growing down that possibly could come back up in the future, and left a lot of the growing tips alone, just to make sure the strength of the tree is still good. But yeah, there's a lot to still do on the tree, but at least the structure is kind of in the right place. And I'm liking the design. I mean, the key is what we do with this and how we get it looking good. And so I'm going to go fully wire this up, and then do the same process. I'll come back and I'll put it into place and I'll show you how you guys do that. I'll probably have to use a lot of guy wires to actually bring this tree right down, but that's what it is. That's what it's going to take to guy wire a lot of these branches. But off I go and do some wiring. Okay. Okay everyone, so I've completed wiring this whole top section, including, so from that's probably the new front in there. So that's the cascading branch, or the semi-cascade branch, and then everything else is wired. You'll see now there's a branch in the front here, still got everything wired up and twisted. So now it's a matter of just now being creative and trying to position, get all this compacted and into this area to make a nice crown and tree and a few pads and so on. I'm pretty sure I need to do some guy wiring, but we'll see how we go. But I'm going to give this a go. I want to try and set this main. There's a huge twisting trunk, you can see that. See that huge twisting trunk inside there, nice heavy gauge aluminium. Now I want to try and twist it and compact it even more. I'm not worried about all these side branches and so on, but what I'm trying to do is, how do I compact it and twist it because eventually that will all be hidden, but I'll probably need a guy wire to keep that nice and tight. So I'm going to put a guy wire on just slowly so I can tweak it and bend it around and so on. But see, what I've done is, like doing this, I've tightened the coil, squeezed it closer, the trunk, and that enables me to actually get a nice tighter curve and compact the tree further. So I'll need to put a guy wire on here now. So I might fast forward this section while I put the guy wire on. We'll come back and have a look. Alright, so I've done the guy wiring. There's a nice little guy wire in here that's really made this nice and compact and contorted it more in. Now I'm going to try and get some, it's a bit tricky because I've got this big curve in here and then there's this big straight bit. So I need to try and continue the curving and continue compacting. So, and that's what I'm going to try and do now. This is going to be an interesting branch, kind of right in your eyes. I don't know if I'm going to have to put it to the side or even maybe take it off, but we'll assess that later. But at the moment I just want to try and get some of this apex kind of down into a position where I can build the tree. So. Always do it slowly, you need two hands, always watching no splittage. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go back again so I can try and flatten, because if you get back you actually shorten the distance. So I'm going to go back and try and bring this apex right down and around. Let's have a look how this will work. At the moment, the most important part are all the big main branches. The little small ones at this stage, it's not a huge issue if you accidentally knock them or something like that and knock them off. But it's the main branches that you care about at the moment. So you can see how much it's compacted right down. We're going to keep going because I really want to get it right down. Cool. All right, now we're getting it. Now we really flatten that quite well. I'm just going to make sure there's no cracking, anything like that. Looks okay. So you see how it's really compacted already. And now we're starting to get some branches that are going to fill in this nice space around here, creating a cascade. So I hope that makes sense. So there you go. But now it's a matter of tweaking everything, getting it looking at least half decent. It's not going to be, you know, obviously this is a long way from finished, and it's a matter of time now for this to all fill out. So I'm just going to go, it really is now just me positioning branches. I mean, I'll put it on time lapse. I'm really not going to talk about it much, but it's just start to position all the branching, and just to get it looking good. Okay, so I'll put it on time lapse. Alright, so you can kind of see a rough structure of what the tree is going to be like, so it's really coming along nicely. Now, I need to actually do a bit more wiring. I want to wire all this fine stuff. This is where the apex will be, because then this branch in here is kind of, I know the sun's annoying right now, but this branch in here I'm deciding if I'm going to keep them or not, but I need to wire this out and see if it actually needs it. I'd like to see some of the trunk, so that is kind of hiding it. But I'm going to have to put a bit more wiring, do some fine wiring, especially in the apex area, to get that looking good. And then we'll have a look at the tree and refine it a bit more. I do have a lot of back area branches. Really, there's probably too much. I'm going to have to consider possibly cutting a few off or reducing them in size. So they're quite long. I'll show you how it looks. See, they're quite long and extended. So either if I can twist them around and put them in a spot, or not, or take them off. So I'm going to go away and assess that, and I'll come back and show you where I'm up to.
Okay guys, sorry, unfortunately the sound cut out, so I'm just going to talk my way through what I was trying to do. After I fully wired the top of the tree, I realised that those front branches were going to be in the way and going to be irritating. So you'll see what I do. I'll pretty much cut them off, but I'm going through the process of explaining the tree and the cascade branch. But all in all, I'm going to go away and cut those off, because the rest of the top will actually form a nice compact growth and look really well. And pretty much now just the result. I've cut those off and that's it. It looks so much better. It's got a clear clarity around it. There's some air space to have some negative space, which is really important, and that looks really good. So off I go to keep working on the rest of the tree. And now I'm going to just be tweaking and bringing everything closer into the trunk, especially at the back.
Alright everyone, so I'm at a point where the initial styling's kind of finished. I like how it's starting to develop and push in the right directions. Still got a long way to go, but I hope you can see how nice and compact it is now. If you remember from the start, it was quite huge and quite, very tall, but by wiring, compacting most of the tree, especially the apex area, it really got nice and small. Now, it needs a lot more thinning out eventually, but as I said to you, I don't want to have too much juvenile growth come on this tree. And I saw a branch that had that, and I just want to grab it. Hang on. I'll show you close up the difference. Let's have a look. So, normal nice scale foliage that you want to see on Shimpaku. And then you get this juvenile growth. See that growth? How different it is? See how spiky? That's what you want to avoid. So it doesn't look good. You'll want that scaly foliage, so that's why. But anyway, not probably the best video of it. I mean the look of it, but it's actually quite a nice tree now. The back's probably a little bit too deep, but I haven't really wanted to reduce that yet. You see from this angle, it looks quite nice. It's got a lot of wiring, a lot of twisting up branches, but it's going to be a nice tree. I think this is going to be really nice. Once it develops a bit more and really fills out, and have a nice cascade pot for it, or a small semi-cascade pot for it, it looks really nice. It just needs time. So you can see the base is pretty good. It flows really well. But I think it's come up pretty good for its first styling. Yeah, so you can't. You can really push a tree really hard if you want to, and really thin it out and have a whiz bang great tree first day. But you got to be cautious. I think you always take the caution side. Yeah, last thing I want to do is have juvenile foliage all throughout this tree. It will take years to grow out. So in the end, this is what it is. Remember, probably the lesson here is use heavy wire to reduce the size of your branches by twisting them back, forward, curl them up, and create your tree. The cascade branch is quite easy in terms of wiring and bending, but this took a lot of time. Guy wires, bended and twisted. The top became this new branch down here. you know, removing branches that are in your face, things like that. And then always having the option to bend branches wherever you need to for them to go. Remember, it doesn't matter where a branch starts, or where it finishes. A very important lesson I told you in the last video as well. Same thing here. Most of these branches are not straight out; they're actually being bent this way and down, and then put it over here somewhere. So it's always you know, a good lesson. Never have always set position for a branch. You know, you can always, wherever it starts, doesn't matter, it's where it finishes. So I think it's going to be a nice tree in the future. Hope you guys see it too, and I hope I did the mother tree some justice. This tree, as I mentioned to you earlier, has well, I've taken at least 20 LAs off this tree when it was originally. So now it's time for it to be restyled. So there you go, guys. You know, before you cut everything off a tree, you know, LA them off, create more trees, and then finally, when you're happy and you've got the tree that you need, the minimum amount of branches, then you create your tree. Okay, so important lesson. Anyway, that's enough me talking, and hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys soon.